In the profound midlife quest for meaning that Jung so eloquently described as individuation, there's a certain cruelty in how the universe treats those rare souls who refuse to settle for anything less than unvarnished truth. You've sensed it deeply. Haven't you the peculiar anguish as those around you seem to effortlessly discover love, while you remain suspended between intense longing and keen discernment? This isn't cosmic punishment, but the initial stirrings of confronting your shadow. This is preparation. What you are about to discover will clarify why some souls must endure what feels like cosmic delay, why love seems to avoid those who need it most deeply, and how this apparent rejection serves a much larger purpose than comfort. The universe does not deny love to rare souls. It refines them until they become worthy vessels for a connection that transcends ordinary human experience. Jung grasped that certain individuals harbor an innate aversion to the superficial, a resistance at the cellular level to bonds that simply occupy space rather than awaken the unconscious and expand awareness. These souls can't feign contentment in emptiness, can't conjure chemistry through sheer determination, can't delude themselves. That superficial rapport equals genuine soul companionship. It's the archetype of the wise mentor calling them to deeper self-discovery in midlife. They are condemned to authenticity, blessed with standards that often feel like chains. Before such souls can receive their partner, they must undergo what seems like a series of cosmic trials. These are not arbitrary challenges designed by a hostile universe, but necessary journeys that strip away everything false, everything borrowed, everything that prevents the soul from recognizing its true reflection when it finally appears. Each trial unveils what remains unhealed, which ingrained patterns demand shattering, which illusions obscure your inner sight, echoing Jung's teachings on integrating the unconscious for true wholeness. The first ordeal manifests as intolerable loneliness, not the chosen solitude of introspection or retreat, but a forced seclusion until every option before you rings hollow. When potential partners speak in tongues alien to your soul, you're encircled by crowds, yet profoundly isolated, grappling with everyday midlife voids, watching others form seemingly authentic connections while you remain unable to access a similar frequency. This loneliness is not evidence of your inadequacy. It is evidence of your specificity. Jung would call this the necessary separation from the collective unconscious, the painful but essential process of discovering what is yours versus what you've inherited from family, culture, or circumstance. Rare souls must discern their authentic desires from conditioned expectations, genuine attractions from the magnetic pull of familiar shadows lurking in the unconscious. The universe imposes this isolation until you cease cramming your expansive essence into unions meant for lesser aspirations. In this phase, you might observe how others glide through love's waters with apparent ease, highlighting your own midlife struggle toward individuation and deeper meaning, how they meet, merge, and move forward without the existential weight that accompanies each of your romantic considerations. You begin to wonder if there's something fundamentally wrong with your wiring, if your inability to feel satisfied with available options represents a character flaw rather than a strength. The universe remains silent in these moments of self-doubt, neither confirming nor denying your fears, simply holding space for you to discover the difference between being difficult and being discerning. This phase teaches you that loneliness and solitude aren't interchangeable. Loneliness aches from unmet connection, while solitude nurtures the profound bond with your inner self, a key to Jung's individuation in the second half of life. Rare souls learn to inhabit solitude without succumbing to despair, transforming this period not into idle waiting, but a vibrant arena for unearthing hidden archetypes and confronting everyday emotional barriers on the path to self-realization. As you navigate this territory, you begin to understand that your solitude serves a specific function, It acts as a filter, ensuring that when connection comes, it arises from a place of authentic recognition rather than desperate salvation. Those who rush to fill the void often find themselves in relationships that recreate the very isolation they tried to escape. Surrounded by someone who cannot see them, meet them, match the depth of their authentic expression. The second trial emerges more subtly, often disguised as the very thing you've sought. Into the solitude you've carefully cultivated steps someone who seems to comprehend your language, who appears to recognize your depths, who ignites every center of longing you've guarded. This person possesses an almost supernatural ability to see through your defenses, speaking directly to your most sheltered hopes, making you feel both exposed and secure. Jung would identify this figure as the activation of your anima or animus, the unconscious projection of your ideal masculine or feminine archetype onto another person. This person doesn't love you. They love what you represent for their unconscious needs. Similarly, what you experience as love for them is often love for the parts of yourself they mirror back to you. This connection feels destined, inevitable, cosmically designed, yet it carries within it the seeds of dissolution. This trial reveals whether you've learned to distinguish between true intimacy and psychological projection, between being seen and being idealized, between love and the temporary healing of old wounds through another's attention. The person who appears in this phase often carries a nearly mystical quality, seeming to understand you in ways that feel miraculous after so many disconnections. They may share your interests, mirror your values, or possess qualities that complement your essence so perfectly that the relationship feels like fate rather than choice. The allure of this connection lies not in its intensity, but in its apparent fitness. Unlike obviously problematic attractions, this person seems genuinely compatible, genuinely interested, genuinely eager to know who you are beneath your protective layers. The danger isn't that they'll intentionally harm you, but that they'll love you incompletely, seeing only the aspects of your essence that serve their psychological needs while remaining blind to your full humanity. The universe presents this trial to see if you've developed the ability to recognize love that comes with conditions, appreciation dependent on your ability to stay within certain parameters, acceptance that requires you to minimize inconvenient aspects of your truth. This person may adore your sensitivity, but withdraw from your intensity, value your depth, but feel uncomfortable with your complexity, cherish your uniqueness, but expect you to temper it when it becomes inconvenient. If you accept this partial love, if you convince yourself that being understood, piecemeal, is sufficient, if you adjust your expression to maintain the connection, the universe won't punish you. It simply allows you to experience the slow erosion of self that accompanies any relationship where your wholeness threatens another's comfort. You learn through direct experience why settling for mediocrity is akin to spiritual suicide. Why compromising essential aspects of yourself creates a partnership that feels like refined loneliness rather than genuine companionship. The third initiation often proves the most challenging because it requires you to recognize and dismantle the ways you sabotage your own happiness. When a truly compatible person begins to enter your life, when the universe prepares to deliver what you've sought, your psychological defenses often activate with unexpected force. Suddenly, you find reasons why this person might not work, evidence that the timing is wrong, fears that allowing yourself to hope only leads to deeper disappointment. Jung understood that the psyche often resists precisely what it needs most, especially when that need threatens to disrupt familiar patterns of self-protection. If you've grown accustomed to your loneliness, if you've built your identity around being misunderstood, if you've organized your life around the assumption that genuine companionship isn't available to you, then the arrival of real possibility can feel more threatening than its absence. Your shadow, as the shadow emerges in midlife, whispering doubts and fabricating obstacles where none exist. It tests your journey toward individuation, urging you to confront unconscious fears tied to past wounds. You might find yourself measuring this new person against an unattainable ideal, pitting their reality against the fantasy crafted in isolation. A common struggle in the quest for authentic self-discovery. You may interpret their genuine interest as temporary infatuation, their consistency as eventual disappointment, their acceptance as proof they don't yet truly understand you. You might begin behaving in ways designed to test their loyalty, unconsciously pushing them away to see if they'll fight to stay, creating conflict to determine if they can handle your complexity. The universe doesn't intervene in this self-sabotage phase. It allows you to explore whether you're truly ready for companionship or merely attached to the nobility of your pain. This test reveals if you can recognize genuine goodness when it appears, if you can receive love without immediately questioning its authenticity, if you can risk vulnerability for the possibility of real connection. Many rare souls fail this test, not from lack of courage, but because they've become so adept at self-protection that they can't distinguish between wisdom and fear, between healthy caution and destructive safeguarding. They push away precisely what they've sought, often realizing their mistake only after the opportunity has passed, only after the one willing to see them has moved on to someone capable of being seen. The fourth test involves completely recalibrating your vibrational frequency. The universe requires you to release not just obvious toxic patterns, but also seemingly positive attachments that no longer serve your evolution. This might mean ending friendships that keep you stuck in old versions of yourself, leaving environments that support your limitations rather than your growth, or relinquishing identities that feel comfortable but restrict your authentic expression. Jung called this process individuation, the sometimes painful journey to becoming who you truly are, rather than who you've been shaped to be. For rare souls, this phase often requires releasing the victim narrative that has given meaning to their pain, the specialness they've derived from being misunderstood, the identity built around being different from those who seem to love more easily. Drawing from Jung's wisdom on the unconscious, you must relinquish the story that your struggles render you superior, that your sensitivity grants privilege, that your depth justifies resistance to vulnerability. Facing these archetypes head-on in midlife to unlock true meaning and break free from self-imposed isolation in daily life. The universe doesn't ask you to become someone else, but to become fully yourself, releasing even those personality aspects you feel justified in keeping but that ultimately separate you from love. During this phase, you may find yourself naturally drifting from people, situations, and habits that once felt essential to your identity. Conversations that once energized you begin to feel draining. Environments that once felt like home start to feel confining. Activities that once brought joy begin to feel empty. This isn't depression. It's alignment. Your inner compass is being recalibrated to point toward what truly serves your growth, rather than what's merely comfortable for your familiar patterns. The universe watches to see if you can trust this natural selection process, if you can let relationships and circumstances depart without clinging, if you can maintain your integrity, even if it means standing alone. This test determines whether you've developed the capacity to choose authenticity over approval, truth over comfort, alignment over security. Reflecting Jung's insights on archetypes, this realignment invites you to integrate fragmented parts of your psyche, shifting everyday interactions and opening doors to opportunities once invisible, fostering midlife self-discovery and a renewed sense of purpose amid life's complexities. Your entire reality begins to shift to match your new vibrational frequency. The universe hasn't changed what it offers. You've changed your capacity to recognize and receive what was always available. The final test before the arrival of a true partner involves surrendering the very thing you've sought. This paradox confounds many rare souls. The universe requires you to stop actively seeking love, before it will deliver love. That you release attachment to relationship before relationship becomes possible. That you find wholeness within yourself before you can experience true union with another. This surrender isn't defeat, but the triumph of becoming complete. Jung understood that individuation leads to a state where you no longer need another to complete you, but desire someone with whom to share your completeness. This shift from need to desire, from seeking to offering, from grasping to allowing represents the final preparation for soul-level partnership. When you reach this state, you stop scanning every room for potential partners. Stop analyzing every interaction for romantic possibility. Stop measuring your worth through relationship status. You begin living as if you're already whole, already loved, already exactly where you need to be. This isn't denial or spiritual bypassing, but the natural outcome of integrating all the lessons the previous trials were designed to teach. The universe observes this final surrender because it indicates your readiness to love without attachment, to connect without losing yourself, to give without depleting your resources. Only when you no longer need love can you truly receive it. Only when you stop searching can you recognize what's been seeking you. Only when you become fully yourself can you attract someone who loves you exactly as you are. This state creates a magnetic field that draws toward you not just anyone seeking partnership, but specifically someone operating at a similar frequency of wholeness. Someone who's undergone their own sequence of trials and transformations. Someone capable of meeting you at the depth you require. The universe doesn't send you someone to heal your wounds, but someone to celebrate your healing. Not someone to complete your missing pieces, but someone to appreciate your wholeness. When such a person appears, the recognition is immediate and undeniable. No need to convince yourself of compatibility. No ignoring red flags. No adjusting your expectations. The connection feels more natural than effortful, more peaceful than chaotic, more expansive than restrictive. You recognize each other not as strangers becoming familiar, but as familiar souls meeting in physical form. This recognition comes not with the intensity of projection, but with the calm certainty of truth. No desperate grasping, no fear of loss, no need to possess or control. You both understand that what you found together exists independent of circumstances. Your connection transcends the temporary arrangements of human relationships, that you can love each other fully while remaining fully yourselves. In this midlife awakening, the arrival of authentic partnership for rare souls often lacks the dramatic intensity of projection-based connections, instead offering a serene recognition that aligns with Jung's anima, divided by animus integration, turning everyday relational struggles into profound self-discovery and mutual growth. Jung would describe this as the meeting of two individuated souls, two people who've done enough of their own psychological work to engage in relationship without losing themselves, without requiring the other to fulfill unmet childhood needs, without projecting unconscious material onto each other. This kind of relationship supports the ongoing evolution of both individuals rather than stunting their growth for the sake of security or comfort. The universe that previously seemed to deny you love now reveals its wisdom. Each trial was necessary preparation. Each delay was perfect timing. Each disappointment was protection from settling for less than what your soul could recognize as home. In the end, you realize you weren't being punished but honed, not rejected but prepared, not overlooked but carefully nurtured for this exact moment of realization. Rare souls discover in true companionship that love doesn't diminish their uniqueness, but amplifies it. Doesn't require them to become smaller, but invites expansion. Doesn't demand they compromise their truth, but honors their courage in living it. They find someone who not only accepts their depth, but matches it. Not only tolerates their intensity, but thrives in it. Not only understands their complexity, but cherishes its beauty. The partnership that emerges from this foundation operates on different principles than connections based on need, habit, or societal expectation. Both remain whole individuals, choosing in each moment to share their wholeness with each other. There's space for solitude within the relationship, embracing Jung's shadow work. This union allows room for personal evolution alongside shared growth, the ability to disagree without threatening the fundamental bond, transforming midlife relational challenges into opportunities for deeper, unconscious integration and meaningful self-realization in daily existence. This relationship becomes a sanctuary where both souls can continue becoming more themselves rather than a prison, where they must pretend to be someone more acceptable. The love flowing between them serves their highest evolution rather than their lowest fears, supports their authentic expression rather than their defensive strategies, nurtures their individual purposes rather than merging them into a combined identity that serves neither. If you recognize yourself in this journey, if you've endured the trials of loneliness, projection, self-destruction, recalibration, and surrender, then you understand why the universe requires such preparation. You've been prepared not for ordinary love, but for extraordinary partnership, not for conventional relationship, but for conscious union, not to have someone complete you, but to have someone celebrate your completeness. The path has been longer than expected, harder than imagined, more transformative than you could have envisioned. But each step has served to ensure that when love arrives, you'll recognize it, embrace it, and give from a place of strength rather than need, from wholeness rather than emptiness, from choice rather than desperation. The universe hasn't forgotten you. It has prepared for you exactly what your soul has been seeking. Take a moment to reflect on your own journey, on the trials you've overcome, on the growth you've achieved even when it felt like stagnation. Consider how each challenge has contributed to your capacity for authentic relationship, how each disappointment has refined your ability to recognize genuine connection, how each moment of loneliness has deepened your relationship with yourself. Your willingness to endure this process, to trust the timing even when it made no sense, to maintain your standards even when it seemed easier to lower them, demonstrates the rare courage required for soul-level partnership. You've been prepared not just to seek love, but to be worthy of the love that can truly see you, meet you, and match you at every level of existence. If this resonates with your experience, if you see your journey reflected in these words, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. What trials have you overcome? What have you learned about yourself in the process? How has this journey prepared you for the love you seek? Your insights might illuminate the path for another soul undergoing similar preparation.